And welcome back to another devotion. I am Pastor Roy Carlin here at Woodlawn Christian Church in Lake City, Iowa, and this devotion is for Thursday, March 27th of 2025. We have been working our way through the book of Acts, and we are today arriving at chapter 12, but we're only going to look at the first 5 verses of chapter 12 today. We're not going to take a real big bite, just kind of take a nibble here, if we will. This section, these 5 verses, are what the Revised Standard Version calls James killed and Peter imprisoned. So let's read them and then we'll talk about it some more and talk about where it's at in history and all of that kind of stuff. All right. About that time, Herod the king laid violent hands upon some who belonged to the church. He killed James, the brother of John, with a sword. And when he saw that it pleased the Jews, he proceeded to arrest Peter also. This was during the days of unleavened bread. And when he had seized him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 squads of soldiers to guard him, intending after the Passover to bring him out to the people. So Peter was kept in prison, but earnest prayer for him was made to God by the church. Okay. This is taking place, it's believed, approximately 12 years after Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection. So that would plant us somewhere around the year 45. Not exactly sure, because we're not exactly sure when Jesus was crucified. There's different opinions on that, but it's going to be reasonably close to the year 45, within a year or two, either way, I would guess. 2 or 3, either way. But at any rate, so we're approximately year 45. We're about 40 years before the book of Acts would be written. The Acts of the Apostles would be written, and Luke and Matthew. Probably 30 years before Mark is written. You would have some of Paul's, probably some of Peter's too. Some of Paul's letters would be around, but they're not combined yet. They're not put together as a group of letters. Certainly not all of them are written yet at the time that they're talking about what's going on here with James, the brother of John, being killed and Peter being arrested in Jerusalem. So at any rate, Herod here is not Herod that was dealing with Jesus. This would be one of his sons. But violent hands, it says. So they're not treating these guys nicely. We're going to have to believe that some of the people probably have been killed, since he did kill James. He's killed one of the leaders. James would be one of the big 3, Peter, James, and John, the ones that went up on the mount to see the transfiguration of Jesus, among other things. They are some of their inside circle. They're the main guys, if you will. Some of them. So, of course, I am of the belief that James the Just, the brother of Jesus, not James the brother of John, but James the Just, the half-brother of Christ, is at this time leading this movement in Jerusalem, at any rate. I disagree with the Catholic Church saying that Peter is the first pope, but that's because I'm not Catholic. But at any rate, we don't know for sure, 100%. That's the thing. We've got a lot of uncertainty about some of the early stuff, just like we have uncertainty about the dates. We just have to be able to accept that and not get all, crazy about it. But at any rate, back to the matter at hand. They have seized him. Herod is planning, looks like, to kill him. After the Passover, he's doing something very similar to what happened to Jesus, what his dad did with Jesus. Not good, not a good thing. We're worried about Peter at this point, very concerned about Peter. The church, they're using that word church again. It's not what they would have had at the end of the first century. They're kind of retrojecting that their experience, their life, just like we do. We kind of project our life and our church ways back onto the ancient church, and that's not a good idea. But at any rate, it's still this movement at that time. But they're worried, because just cause to be worried. James was just killed. James, the brother of John, was just killed. One of the leaders, all we have is one short verse. He killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. That's just so weird. But they're worried about Peter next, and Peter is going to be next. He's a bigger dog, if you will. He's a bigger fish, and Herod wants to make a show of him, it appears. So what does the church do? What do we do when we're faced with something like this? Something that's just so potentially catastrophic as what's going on here. This could have been Christianity could have turned out vastly different, depending on how this went and where we're going to go next Thursday, or Tuesday, rather. Tuesday. Don't jump ahead, Roy. But the church goes into earnest prayers. but earnest prayer for him. They're praying to God earnestly. One of the things about James the Just that you have to remember, they called him also Old Camel Knees because he spent so much time on his knees praying that his knees were deformed. And we need to remember that. We need to spend more time in prayer. I certainly feel like I need to do more of that. We all do. We all need to spend more time in prayer. So that's where I'm going to leave you at this time. Trying to keep this one fairly short. Looks like we're going to accomplish that goal. We're just a little over 5 minutes. Short little devotion today. We'll probably have a little longer one next Tuesday. If you enjoy these lessons, devotions, whatever we want to call them, please do like and subscribe. Come on back again. We'd love to see you. If you want to make a kind comment, feel free to do that as well. All right? Have a blessed day. Be a blessing to someone today. Tell them about Jesus. That would be a wonderful way to bless them, don't you think? Take care. God loves you. See you later. Bye-bye.